Good morning, stock gurus, or good night where you're from in America. If most of you viewers are American, I hope you're having a beautiful night. Today, I'm going to be looking at the NASDAQ, and we're going to see what's going to happen to the US market in terms of the stocks, in terms of tech stocks, because a lot of people ask me to follow this. Usually, I'm following the Dow, and the Dow is a great way to track the 30 biggest companies. The Dow is the great way to track the US stock market. It's the 30 biggest companies in America. Where is the Dow? The DJI down here. DJI. Normally, I'm using the DJI to track the 30 biggest companies in America, the overall US stock market. And I made a video on that just a week ago saying, is the US stock market about to crash? Is it going to crash? Check out that video. It does look like it's still trying to correct, actually. But I think with the stimulus, we're going to have it boost up. But it does look like the Dow is trying to come down to this 30,647, the 30 biggest companies in America. A big support for the Dow that it could actually correct down to is the 29,000. But let's see what happens with this stimulus. Does it just hold on this 31,101 support, where it's currently nearly sitting on, and just go up? We'll see. I'll make videos on the Dow later, but today I'm going to track the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ is the biggest technology companies, the highest values NAS. So it's NASDAQ is the composite index. So we're looking at the NASDAQ, the technology sector, the biggest tech companies. IXIC is the ticker, the NASDAQ composite index. This is the NASDAQ. First, we'll start in the all time frame. And if you're looking at these charts and you're panicking, don't panic. This is very easy. I'm going to teach you how to do this. I am going to go relatively quickly, but everything you're seeing here, I created a course that teaches you all this. The course is the Stock Guru Master Course. You can see the link in the description, the pinned comment, or by going to the website www.stockguru.us. In the Stock Guru Master Course, you're going to learn the best brokers for you in your country to buy stocks, the buttons and settings to press in your broker. It's a video tutorial, 8 lessons. The buttons and settings to press to buy your stocks in the stock market. Technical analysis, charting, what you're about to see here, and learn how to do this, fundamental analysis, and also my mindset of abundance that I also teach in the course. The course goes for 8 days. Most students watch it in 2 days. And if you purchase the course within the next 23 hours, on March 1st at 8 p.m. New York time, I announced the winner of 1,000 USD. So to go into that competition, so one of my students is going to take the course, one of my students is going to win 1,000 USD to put into their portfolio, and then we can see how they do with my knowledge and that $1,000. I'm going to do this very often, just like I gave 5,000 USD on the 1st of February, 1,000 USD on Christmas, and 1,000 on New Year's. Anyone that purchased the course today in the next 23 hours by the 1st of March, 8 p.m. New York time, goes in the chance to win 1,000 USD. I'm going to use a Google number random generator to do that. So this is the NASDAQ Composite Index over time, going back to 1974 when it came on to TradingView.com, and probably was created actually 1973. The NASDAQ Composite Index was at 93, and now it's sitting at 1,000. It was at 93 in 1973, and now it's 13,000. So it's gone up. That was close to 100. How many times? So if it went up 10 times, it would be 1,000. If it went up 100 times, it would be 10,000. So it's gone up around 130 times to hit this 13,000 on the Dow. 130 time growth. Most of that growth actually happened from 2010. So I would say it went really, like, most of the growth happened from here into the .com 2008 GFC financial crisis. It was at 1,400. And now it's gone up almost 100 times in 11 years, which is beautiful. It's about, 100 times in 11 years is actually quite amazing. Actually, no, it's 10 times. It's gone up 10 times in 11 years. So almost doing about 90% growth per year, which is still great. This was the .com bubble, huge crash for the NASDAQ because it's mostly based off tech stocks, the tech companies. That's weighted towards the big tech companies. This was the global financial crisis where the tech companies didn't get hurt too much. And since the global financial crisis, the overall trend massively trending up of the NASDAQ. This is a very big saying that a lot of my students know, that I teach a lot. And that saying is, the trend is your friend. Never forget this. The trend is your friend, and the NASDAQ is massively trending up. The trend is your friend. So now I'm going to draw some kind of like put in some trend lines and predict what's going to happen to the NASDAQ. So we're going to make some trend lines here. So there's possible one. I'm touching 2 points on the line here, and it kind of created that. There's a possible, that was a resistance. I'm trying to put in trend lines to see what we could be seeing happening to the Nasdaq. Here's another trend line. We're using a ray. There's another trend line. And I have students that are taking this course, the Stock Guru Master Course. Again, the link in the description, the pinned comment at www.stockguru.us. My student Alexa, my student Rosie, her daughter Alexa is 6 years old taking my course. I also have Laurel, a 75-year-old grandmother, and John, an 80-year-old grandfather. And thousands of people have taken the Stock Guru Master Course, and you can just see many reviews from my students about the course. So this is some kind of trend lines that I'm putting in. How I put a trend line in here, we had 2 touches on the line here, one here, and that created this third. And now we have a trend line for the bottom of this main. This is the main trend line, I would say, that goes back to 2014. Can it go back further? Let's see if we can get it back even further. It could try to go down even to here, 2012. It is possible. Oh, it could even go down further. We could go, no, see how it really, that's a new trend, because there it was a trend line here, and then it moved over. So we actually have a new trend line starting here in 2016 that it's following now. And we have 2 touches on this trend line, which is nice. The upper end of the trend line we have here, we can edit that one because that was a wick, but not really the base. There would be the base. So there's a second, that's kind of a channel. And now the Nasdaq is above that secondary trend line. It actually went parabolic since COVID. It went down to 6,700. The Nasdaq has doubled since COVID. Amazing. This is kind of a bearish candle that closed on the month, but it's not yet finished. This candle here. So each of these candles representing 1 month in the stock market, 1 month of the Nasdaq's movements. So this month has not yet finished. It had a month that started off strong. It did finish, everyone. Ooh, that's not nice. This is a kind of doji. It's a reversing, it looks like a reversal candle. It's a reversal candle is something like here. See, it's like it tries to wick up, it comes back, it's pushed very strongly, pushing down, and it closes like kind of even. It's kind of a reversal candle. So this is not such a good sign here for the Nasdaq. That was kind of a reversal candle there. Here we have another trend line that the Nasdaq is following right now. This like kind of parabolic. So what I'm doing when I'm first looking at the charts is I'm trying to join, I'm trying to create some kind of like structure about where the Nasdaq can be going, like what can be happening. And I create this with the trend lines. We kind of put trend lines in many different locations that look like patterns, and then we can see kind of patterns forming in the Nasdaq. I don't really see any major pattern here, but I just want to point out that the MA cross, the last time we had an MA cross on the Nasdaq was here in 2017, 2016, and that opened the MA cross, and it's been open, the red line above the green line, since, and it has not yet closed. So that 2016 MA cross was an amazing indication of a bull market for the Nasdaq. Since then, from that 4,500, it went up to 10,000, came back down to 6,000 during COVID, and then up to now 13,000, which is huge. Now, I'm using very specific indicators here that I teach you how to do in the Stock Guru Master Course. In the description, pin comment, www.stockguru.us, and those are RSI, stochastic, squeeze mob. When they're RSI and stochastic above the dotted line, it means this asset or this index, for example now, is overvalued. Below the dotted line, undervalued. So right now, the Nasdaq is on the longer term time frame overvalued. So what that means is you want to be buying tech stocks and buying the Nasdaq more when it's undervalued down here. But even look, as you can see, even during COVID, it barely even came down the Nasdaq. It came out of the overbought, but not really. And now it's like very in the overbought. Above the dotted lines, you want a dollar cost average over a longer period of time. You want to split up your capital over a longer period of time and invest, split it up more. So DCA strategy is a very powerful strategy that's going to change your life when it comes to the stock market. It's going to change your experience because you're going to not have panics anymore, emotional issues when it comes to the stock market. Dollar cost average means you're splitting up your capital and you're investing every month into the stock market at good technical entry points. So you'll try there, you'll try there, you'll try there to enter. So then you're buying over time, and it takes away emotional pain and swings in the market, which I explained. The squeeze mob is trying to, the stochastic is trying to turn to head down, but they're still heading up. but they are currently overbought. So you need to expect there could be a possible correction. It does have a very strong support here, the Nasdaq, on the 12,144. If it does decide to come down. But right now, it's following this very specific trend line since May. It's in this channel. Droop, 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 droop. And until this channel breaks, we respect it. If it does break, we have a support here at the 12,000 that it will hopefully hold on. Now so in the longer term time frame, the Nasdaq is still very strongly, the overall trend, massively trending up. Never go against the trend. Another main saying is, who's your best friend? It's me and the trend. The trend is your friend, and never go against the trend. And the Nasdaq is massively trending up. You don't want to even catch. This was COVID. This was like, to put in perspective. This is global financial crisis. This is this is the .com bubble. This is global financial crisis. This is COVID. So in the grand scheme of things, never go against the trend, your best friend, because it's massively trending up. The US stock market, the US tech companies, and the Nasdaq. Stochastic still heading up, RSI still heading up, both overbought now, so you need to be a bit careful. Dollar cost average longer period of time. Squeeze mob still massively green and heading up like a wave very strongly. Even in 2014, the squeeze mob was not heading up so strongly. And even here in 2014, we went very high at RSI, same in 2018. So the stochastic and RSI here can still climb up more. They are looking to try and curve to head down, but I think with this much stimulus they're printing right now, I don't believe we're going to have a correction anytime soon. It's just small corrections on a massive upward hill because of inflation. So now we zoom in, we go to 1 year time frame, we click here, 1 year, and now each of the candlesticks change. And now we're seeing daily candlesticks on the Nasdaq, the biggest tech companies in America. We're looking at the daily candlesticks now to see what's going to happen going into the next few months, going to May, June, July. Down here, see 2021, March, May, July. We're seeing what's going to happen to the big tech companies and on the Nasdaq. So now we can see these lines a bit clearer. We zoomed in, so let's put them in a bit more correct areas. So there was the top of that that peak. Ooh. There was the top of that peak around, I would say there. I'm using a magnet to get this. There is the top of these peaks. Here is the bottom of this one. So as I zoomed in, now each candlestick is 1 day. Each of these is representing 1 day in the market. So that's a better kind of formation. And that's actually nice what we just did there, because it gives me a little bit more information, everyone. Because now it kind of looks like it's forming an ascending wedge. It's not just the channel, because look, this channel ends. If I keep zooming this out, if I keep zooming these trend lines out, the channel actually ends. So let's see what happens when it ends. So if we zoom it out, zoom it out, zoom it out, here I would say, and we zoom this top end of the channel out, zoom it out, zoom it out, it's no longer a channel, it's ascending wedge that joins, this wedge joins on the 8th of September, or actually it joins here on the 13th of September at 16,600 on the Nasdaq. About a 3,000 point movement for the Nasdaq. That's where it actually ends, this channel. Usually the way these ascending wedges, this is kind of like a rocket ship ascending wedge. It's not really even an ascending wedge. But usually the way these end, look at that. The Nasdaq looks like a giant, that's a very powerful chart, isn't it? Very powerful, very, very strongly pointing up. And they're kind of like pointing up and then turning into a rocket here. The base of usually when you have a breakout, you have, when these ascending wedges, it's a weird one, but it is still kind of an ascending wedge. The way they work is usually they break out with the direction of the trend and they break out to the base of the wedge. So that's the base of the wedge if we draw it in. So we put a trend line from here to here. And we make this trend line yellow. And that's our targets once it breaks out. It can break out either direction of ascending wedges. They're not just breaking out to the upside. So that movement is a 3,000 point movement on the Dow. Now I'm going to try and turn this to be more vertical. But I still want to turn it, but I want to keep its 3,000 point movement. So there, a bit less. There. So That looks like the point, what's happening with the Dow when it breaks out. If it could go either direction, but it's not so much of a breakout comparable to that movement. Comparable to that overall movement, it's pretty small. Why is it not letting me move around so much? It's weird. Oh, here. That 3,000 point movement compared to the movement of this channel is like pretty small actually. It looks like it's a big one, 3,000 point movement, but to get, I mean, it is pretty big. It's going to move 3,000 points as it gets up there, and then in September it can have a violent move up 3,000 points. It can go either direction. It can go both ways when that has that movement. It depends on how the market looks when we get to that point in September. Does it correct down back and erase all the gains that it's going to make in September 8th? Or does it go up and come close to, the Dow would be close to the 19,000 on the NASDAQ, sorry, not the Dow, the NASDAQ, the tech sector. So that's the kind of channel that I'm seeing the NASDAQ playing on. Unfortunately, here we had an MA cross to head up. Everyone see that? We had an MA cross to head up back in November. And here we had an MA cross to head down. Here we had an MA cross to head down. But it looks like it's that last candle. It looks like that last candle on the Friday's trading day was a doji also. So a doji, you can see kind of dojis, they like wick on both sides. So they have like a doji candle. There's a wick there, there's a wick there, and it kind of goes up, it goes down, and then it stabilizes and without really moving much on the day. So that's a doji. You can Google doji, what that means. Here was another doji, and this was a bearish, oh, not really. There hasn't been a doji for a while. Here was a doji when it changed direction. Here was a upward, like a doji here where it changed direction also. Here was a doji where it changed direction. Look at that. If this was a great buy indicator here in March during COVID, look at that MA cross. After that MA cross, it went from 7,200 on the Dow to nearly 11,000. Amazing. Before it crossed again the MA cross. I'm using very specific indicators here that I teach you how to do in the Stock Room course. Description, pin comment. You can take the course, 8 lessons, $333, lifetime access. Students as young as 6 to grandparents as old as 80 are taking the course, and thousands of students take it. And remember, if you purchase in the next 23 hours, by the 1st of March at 8 p.m. New York time, you go in the chance to win 1,000 USD. I think there's not that many applicants this week, so it's beautiful. I think it's only less than less than 30 applicants this week. So 1 of 30 is going to win the 1,000 USD. If you purchase the course within the next 23 hours, www.stockguru.us, you go in the chance to win. So Squeeze Mob is going green. It's actually, it turned red. It was green for a long time. Did it really turn red? Yes, it had one red candle. But the stochastic and the RSI are close to oversold. Remember, below the dotted line is oversold, and they're turning to head back up. RSI turning to head back up. And it looks like it's finding support on this trend line. This support line is kind of like holding here, this trend line. It's holding on this here on the 13,113. That's a support line. The major support line is actually here at 12,000 on the NASDAQ. If the NASDAQ was to fall, the tech companies, it would have a lot of support here at this 12,000, and then even more support here at this 10,000. It would be very hard for it to break that. This would be an amazing buying opportunity. I don't think there's any chance that it's coming down to here where it went on COVID. I don't think any chance at all for a very long time, because the amount of stimulus and money they're printing. Right now, they announced on Friday, they're going this weekend, they're going to print $1.9 trillion. They passed it in the House, and now it's going to be decided, and I think they'll push it through quickly. And I think that's the catalyst for this explosive movements up. We might even break out of this channel. But looks like Squeeze Mob is going to turn green. Stochastic bottoming, turning up. RSI bottoming, turning up. It looks like it's heading up. First target in the next few weeks and months is this 13,700 on the NASDAQ, the tech company sector. The second one would be, by the time it gets there, I think here, and then it's going to find resistance, 14,438. So it looks like it's going up. It looks like it's finding support on this channel. If it does come down, it has two places where it has huge support on the NASDAQ. One here, 12,857, and one massive support line also down here. Why is that a support at 12,069? Because see how the NASDAQ was trying to climb, hit it. This was in September. It hit it, came down, went up, hit it, came down, went up, hit it, came down, and then so that previous resistance is now very strong support. If it ever comes down here, very strong support. But it looks like it's staying in this channel. The MA cross did happen though, so we really need this MA cross to cross back. RSI looking to turn up from oversold, stochastic oversold. So that correction, that violent correction, those last few days of the trading week was actually very, very nice for us in the tech sector and for the stock market in general, because that allowed the RSI, stochastic, everything to reset. See how it was overbought for a very long time? By them coming down like that, so violent, so quickly, it allowed a quick reset to then turn to head back up. So if the NASDAQ does start heading up, first target in the NASDAQ, the major target is 13,700, nearly a 500 point movement in the NASDAQ. Then the second main target before it finds resistance on the upper end of this ascending wedge is 14,438 on the NASDAQ Composite Index. So I see it playing out a little bit like this. I'm going to draw it. I think it's going to go up violently on this this printing money news, because to put it into perspective how much money they're printing, everyone, in 2008, so here on the NASDAQ in 2008, which would be, let's zoom out a little bit. In 2008, here, there was $1 trillion of US money supply. Right now, there is $7.5 trillion of US money supply right now. So 2008, there was 1 trillion. Right now, there's 7 trillion. So it went up. They printed 7 times more money in existence, and 3 trillion of that was last year. So 7 times more money, US money supply in existence than there was in 2008 at 1 trillion, now 7 trillion. But the NASDAQ has only gone up in that time. Actually, it's almost gone up 7 times. It's almost gone up 7 times. It's gone up around close to 7 times, from 2,000 on the NASDAQ index to now 13,000, almost 7 times, 700%. And that's how much money they printed. But today, or on the weekend, they announced a further printing of another $1.9 trillion of stimulus, meaning it's going to be, there was 1 trillion. That means we're going to have close to 10 trillion of US money supply. So that means to go up 10 times, it would need to go to 20,000 on the NASDAQ. And those are the targets we have when it breaks out of that. I think it is going to break out to the upside. So let's get rid of, that's kind of the targets that we have when it breaks out of this ascending wedge close to September. That might even do it quicker. So it's actually correct, because the amount of money they printed, $1 trillion in 2008 they had, and now there's going to be $10 trillion in the next, probably in the next month. So that would put to 10 times would be 20,000 on the NASDAQ, which would be up there to meet that US money supply printing. So this is what I see playing out for the NASDAQ. I'll go back into the 1 year candles. So going into the next few months, I see it hitting by the 10th of March. The 10th of March, I see it close to hitting, wait, let's move this. Yes. 10th of March, I see it hitting 13,685. I think it would hit that resistance actually, not 1685. 13,704 it will be hitting. The NASDAQ Composite. So around there. And then it could either do 2 things. We'll wait and see what happens after that. But to me, it looks like it could play out like this, because that would be a strong resistance actually at that point. So I think it would then come down from there on the 11th of March, but I don't think so. I think because the money, I think that would be close to when they're going to announce that stimulus is actually confirmed. So then I think it's going to just skyrocket from there and go up to there. Normally what would happen, I would say, would be that the NASDAQ would come down off that resistance, and it is still possible. You need to hit the subscribe button. On your phone, there's a subscribe button and a bell and a thumbs up button. If you could press all those thumbs up buttons, the subscribe button on your phone, subscribe button, bell, and on the bell, you have to click the bell and then click all notifications. You'll be notified of these videos, and every time I make one of these videos, it will pop up in your YouTube. And then you'll be notified of these daily videos, and then we'll keep tracking what happens. Normally, I would say that would play out. It would play out like this. This is my normal indication of what would happen based off these charts. That's what I would say would happen normally. This is my normal kind of path, because this is a strong resistance that it hit. But because of this $1.9 trillion stimulus, I think that rejection is just going to be erased. And I think we're going just straight there. I think we're just going to really go for it directly to the upper end of this channel. And because they're printing $1.9 trillion of stimulus, I don't even know if it does this. I don't know if it does this. It might not even do this going into September. it might just, because they're printing 1.9 trillion when it's announced, and that's around when they're going to announce it. They said around the 14th of March. So it's around here that they're announcing it. There. Around that resistance, they're actually announcing it, 14th of March. So it might just, after that, just break out of this ascending wedge and just go up to the 20. But we have to see what happens, because you always respect trend lines. That's something. The trend is your friend, and always respect the trend lines. And until this channel breaks, until this ascending wedge breaks, we respect it, and we will keep monitoring. But that's what it looks like is going to happen going into March and then going into May for the NASDAQ. The tech companies. It looks like we're going to have a strong week this week as it climbs up to the 13,700 on the Dow 600 on the Nasdaq, almost a 600 point or 500 point movement. And then I think normally you'll find resistance, bounce down and come down, but I think we're just going to skyrocket out of there the weeks after going into April. This will be, it looks like it will be a strong week for the tech sector, for the strong month from March to April for the tech sector, where looks like it's going to make a movement from 13,192 on the Nasdaq, the tech sector, to 14,596, which is nearly a 1,300 point movement on the Nasdaq, which is beautiful, everyone. It looks like the tech sector on this announcement of stimulus is going to be pumping. Now, so that's my targets going in. Stochastic RSI oversold, squeeze mob going to try and turn green again, and it looks like we're going up 13,704 and 14,596 going into mid-March. Now let's zoom in closer. We click down here, 3 months, and we're going to try and find out what happens for Monday's trading day for the tech sector. We can adjust this right there. What is going to happen on Monday? That's our question. Adjust those targets. So Monday's trading day, what am I seeing? I'm seeing that we had this big drop last week on the tech sector. This big drop, that was last week. And then what I'm seeing, this morning here, I just woke up at 8 a.m. Let me just show you. I'm just going to have a little 5-second break so I can relax my mind and just get a bit of this beautiful day here. We just entered summer here. Also, don't forget, on Tuesdays and Saturday nights, 8 p.m. New York time, I go live in the Eagle's Nest. In my house, I have a mountain. At the top of my house, I go live in the Eagle's Nest. Tuesdays and Saturday nights, 8 p.m. New York time, we talk stocks, we talk investing, we go live. It's awesome. Yesterday was one. It was beautiful. Such a nice day. I love this setup of my breakfast area. If you've been following my channel for a few months, I usually take you, for the last 4 months, so 3 months, I've been taking you around little house tours on the lives on the Eagle's Nest, Tuesday, Saturday nights, 8 p.m. New York time. So what I'm seeing here is that it staged a recovery on Fridays, the last few hours of Friday's trading day. It had that drop, and then it staged a recovery. And now it looks like the stochastic and RSI are turning to come back down. Squeeze mob is going red. But I think on the stimulus news, it found support here, very strong on this 13,000. This is a very strong support here. Look at that. It wicked down, hit there, and then bounced back very strongly, then came down, hit there, wicked there, and then came back up again. So that's a really strong support here. Let's move up this 12,000. It's very strong support here at the 13,003. So even though the stochastic and the RSI right now are showing that they're going to try and come down a little bit, I don't think so. I think with this announcement of this 1.9 trillion, I think it's going to turn up and just go up. And for Monday's trading day, we will go first resistance that we're going to try and target is going to be here, because see how it found resistance here when it came up to recover, 13,304. So it looks like the NASDAQ on Monday is going to turn up. It's going to first hit 1340, and then next possible target is 13. Here is a strong resistance, 13,556. So those are the targets for the NASDAQ. How does it play out? Do I see any major pattern? I am seeing very higher highs. The overall trend of NASDAQ massively trending up. The trend is your friend. I'm seeing consistent higher highs. And there was lower lows, but that looks like a double bottom on the NASDAQ. Look at that double bottom there in February and in March. Double bottom on the NASDAQ. Usually double bottoms are indicators of finding a very strong bottom and support to start heading up. So I believe it is going to start turning up. The targets are for the NASDAQ. I think it's going to play out something like this. Hit this resistance, come down, joop, joop, and then joop. That's what I see the NASDAQ doing. So the targets on Monday is 13,340 for the Nasdaq. Second target 1356. Third target 13,704. So T1, T1, T2, and T3. That's what I see going into March, around March 20th, when we hit that upper end of this channel. So it looks like the tech sector is going to have a beautiful, beautiful next month from March to April. On the announcement of this stimulus, the only real pattern that I see here is this double bottom. Here it had a very strong double bottom on the Nasdaq. That's a very bullish. That's a very bullish pattern because it means there's very, very strong support at this 1303 here and here, which is beautiful. So the next 2 weeks, it looks like we're going up very strongly. And the next few months, even as it climbs up here, usually the pattern plays out like this, as we've seen, as it's been doing in this channel. But to me, the amount of money they're printing, I think we could have some exponential event here. So we have to really monitor it as we come here. March 22nd. Look at those numbers, 22nd of March 21. At that point, it looks like we could have some explosive movement for the Nasdaq, the tech sector. But this week for the tech sector is looking like a nice week. From the 1st of March today till the 11th of March, it looks like we're going up strongly here on this double bottom bounce. It's actually a triple bottom bounce, actually. See, there was 3 times it hit this support. Triple bottom. Beautiful. So I hope you learned a lot. I hope you liked this video and understood everything I was doing here. It was a little bit complicated if you're just glimpsing it in the beginning, but you really need to take the 8-day, 8-lesson course, www.stockguru.us. It's 1 hour per day. Some students watch it in one entire 8-hour sitting in one day, but that's up to you. But you can watch it as many times as you want, lifetime access. The course is www.stockguru.us. You can see the link in the description, the pinned comment. And don't forget, if you purchase the Stock Guru Master Course in the next 23 hours, by the 1st of March, 8 p.m. New York time, you go in the chance to win 1,000 USD. So a student gets the knowledge. Someone's going to be chosen with the Google number random generator for the 1,000 USD, and then they can apply that knowledge. So I hope you like this video. I hope you have an amazing, amazing night in America. I hope you have a great rest and a beautiful Sunday rest. And I hope you had a great weekend. And this is James from Stock Guru. I hope you have an amazing night and have a really good sleep. And I'll see you again tomorrow.